Okay, now this fella is very, very good. He actually won the open mic night we had here a few months ago. He's very, very funny. He got a massive reception. He was on TV with Colin Murphy, the big comedian, used to do the harp adverts. Used to do the harp adverts. I'm joking, that's I'm not bitter at all. But he's very, very funny. He was very, very good. If you could just start the applause from here. So around the back, around the back. Come on, around the back. Ladies and gentlemen, make some warm up for your headline of this evening. It's Matthew Collins!
My name's Matthew, and I'm xyrophobic.
Hi, Matthew.
That means I'm afraid of razors. I must apologise to anyone in the room who suffers from paganophobia, which is fear of beards. And after saying xyrophobia and paganophobia, I must also apologise to anyone suffering from helenologophobia, which is a fear of scientific terminology. After that, it would be wrong not to apologise to anyone suffering from a fear of long words. Which, of course, is hippopotamonstrosesquipedaliophobia. Now, there is actually a phobia called phobophobia, which is the fear of phobias. But to anyone suffering from that, all I can say is you have nothing to fear but fear itself. Oh, it's a long way to go for that one. Phobias that I could actually sort of weave a sort of a narrative through, ones that I could fit together into that hilarious piece of well-crafted work. You know, there's loads of them out there. There's arachiobutyrophobia, which is the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth and suffocating you. Or my own personal favourite, anatodeophobia, which is the fear that somewhere, somehow, a duck is watching you. Apparently. It's a weird one. Aaron, you've been a big part of the year. You have. I mean, we all love you. You're great. And we're going to have you take part one more time, Aaron, because what I'm going to do is, I'm going to hand you this. It's a Rubik's Cube. It's maybe a little bit before your time, but I'm going to hand that to you if you wouldn't mind. If you could mix that up for me, Aaron, because as a friend of mine once said, a Rubik's Cube is an awful lot like your cock. The longer you play with it, the harder it gets. So you sit there, you have a bit of fun with that, and I'll come back to you shortly, alright? That's right, folks, it's a pseudo-intellectual dick joke. But, now, I'm not sure, but we might have established my nerd credentials here. You know, I'm a little bit of a geek. I'm a massive geek. I'm not going to deny that fact. I'm a complete nerd, and I'm proud of that. And as a geek, I absolutely love superheroes. You know, comic books, superhero films, you know, films in particular, in fact. And if there's one thing I've noticed about superhero films, it's that whenever a superhero gets their powers, it's always as a result of some horrific accident, usually involving radiation that should have killed them, but instead they end up ridiculously powerful. Take, for example, the Daredevil, Matt Murdock. As a child, there was a car crash, there was a toxic waste spillage. He lost his sight. But as a result of this, all his other senses became incredibly enhanced. He became an amazing superhero, able to read with his fingertips, because other blind people can't do that. Or Spider-Man, Peter Parker. He was bitten by a radioactive spider, but rather than die from the venom, he ended up swinging all over town, kissing women upside down in the rain, you know, having a fantastic time. But it's always as a result of radiation. And to prove this, I got this DVD in the bargain bin in HMV there the other day, and I haven't seen it, but as far as I'm aware, it's a superhero film. It's still good, with Meryl Streep and Kurt Russell. As far as I know, as I say, but I haven't had a chance to sit down and have a look. But I'll read the back of it, just see what I'm talking about. Like most people in her town, Karen Silkwood worked at the local nuclear power plant, producing highly radioactive plutonium. Exposed one day to a lethal dose of radiation, Karen faces the cold, blank walls of corporate indifference and denial, whilst coming to terms with the fact that she will suffer a painful and lingering death as a result of company negligence. film I thought that was. Fuck. Right, Aaron, have you that mixed up for me, man? That's that. Thank you very much. That'll give me something to do on the way home. I'm only messing. That'd be cheap. That'd be cheap. I'll give it a bash, but gonna have to put this back. They haven't invented the hands-free cube yet. And when they do, it'll remove some of the challenge. But, now, we'll keep talking, don't mind. Now, let me see. Where are we going to go? We'll talk about, French. Talk a little bit about French. French is a fantastic language. It's the language of love, so they say. Yourself here, beside Aaron. Yeah, yourself. How's your French? Really bad? Ah, well, don't worry about it. I'll do the talking for you. Grand. Avez-vous une carte? Je suis perdu dans tes yeux. Now, for any non-French speakers in the room, what I actually said there was, have you got a map? I am lost in your eyes. Fromage. Jeez. Actually, any linguist in the room would be saying grammatically that's bollocks. Okay, linguists would probably be more articulate than that. But the point they'd be trying to make is that I would have a vous on card. Vous, the formal form of the word you. Je suis perdu dans tes yeux. Tes is the more informal, more casual form of the word your. But that's not a grammatical mistake on my part. That's just incredible confidence in the effectiveness of that line. That I can start off formal and move straight to casual right in the same sentence. I don't think she's impressed though. Nerd. Shit. With lines like that, you'll be surprised to learn that I am actually single. Okay, not surprised, not surprised. You've had your first impressions confirmed. I mean, let's face it. I mean, looking like this, and coupled with my amazing crippling social awkwardness, and the fact that I am a complete nerd, you know, it really doesn't help matters. I mean, even now there's women in the room looking up at me and thinking, Rubik's Cube. For fuck's sake. What a geek. What an absolute dork. And what they should actually be thinking is, wow, he's got nimble fingers and he clearly knows where in the box. But no, single. A lot of nights I find myself sitting home alone in front of the television, wallowing in self-pity, and an ad comes on the TV for mouthwash, and it's like, this mouthwash is so much better than brushing alone. Bastards. I don't know, is it wrong to break up with someone just to keep doing single material? I think they're good enough jokes, no? Should be grand, should be grand. You know, time is a great healer, you know, except in the case of progressive diseases. I know, actually it was her that dumped me, so she can just go fuck herself. Leave her to her own devices. It's a thinker, but... yeah, where do we go next? What's your name, man? Yeah, you sir. Nathan. There's a question, Nathan. There's a question that has plagued mankind down through the centuries. It's one of life's great unanswered questions. Personal joke. But no, it's an example of a thing called circular logic. And basically, this question is, which came first? The chicken or the egg? You know, it's a well-known question, you know. Have you any thoughts on the matter yourself? The smart aleck answer would be the dinosaur to the question of which came first, the chicken or the egg. So you're approaching it from an evolutionary standpoint is what you're saying, basically, that the dinosaur would have had to possibly lay an egg that would have become chicken, and you're trying to get around the whole circular logic thing, basically, is what you're trying to do. Not bad, not bad. I'm going to come at it from a slightly different angle, though, okay? Because, yeah, it's one of those things. It is that you go all around the place. But I think you do have to look at it from a slightly different angle. You've gone at it from an evolutionary standpoint. But yeah, I think if you do look at it from a different angle, you may well be able to shed some light on the situation, you know? And Nathan, I think think when it comes to the question of which came first, the chicken or the egg, I think I've cracked it. No, don't laugh at that. Don't laugh at that. Cracked it. That's a terrible, terrible egg-based pun. That's positively foul. That's extraordinarily bad. That's 3 terrible chicken and egg jokes in a row there. I don't want to put all my terrible chicken and egg jokes in one basket. That's 4 chicken and egg jokes. That's 4 chicken and egg jokes. I would go ba-dum, but I don't have a drumstick. That's 5 chicken and egg jokes. 5. Oh, my head is fried. 6. Oh, that's 6. Oh, yeah, that's a half dozen. That's 7. We move on from that. But Nathan, no, I do. I think you look at it from a slightly different angle. You may be able to shed some light. And I think, Nathan, it's not an evolutionary thing. It's not a philosophical thing. It was a race, Nathan. It was sports commentary. Which came first? The chicken or the egg? And I think, from that point of view, you would have to side with the chicken. Because, Nathan, a chicken has legs. Which you'll have to admit, do put you at somewhat of an advantage in a race-type scenario, you know? Unless, of course, it was on a hill. In which case, the rotund nature of the egg, the pitch of the hill, and the effect of gravity and Newtonian physics being what they are, you know, it might cause Mr. William Hill to reassess the odds a little bit. It might compensate for the egg's complete lack of even the most rudimentary of ambulatory propulsion mechanisms, you know. But lacking a geographical survey of the terrain in question, I guess it remains unanswered, you know. At this point, it may be worth pointing out that I recently had a review which described me as prolix, a word which I had to look up, but a word which I discovered means verbose to the point of tedium, which you may or may not agree with, but I just like the irony of describing me with a word that meant I was overly wordy using a word that I had to look up. But some jokes are just for yourself. But no, yeah, I'm gonna do the cue because yeah, it's distracting, to be perfectly honest with you. I'm holding it here in my hand and you're all looking up at me and going, is he ever going to finish the bloody thing? It's distracting you from what I'm saying, and to be honest, it's distracting me from what I'm doing. I can't concentrate on this thing, you know. It is very, very difficult when you get up and say you have to make sure you finish the thing, because if you don't, that's a disaster. So that's... done and sometimes should be kept for a climactic ending. But we're going to keep talking. Nathan, I'm not done with you yet.